An old woman, mute since a brutal home invasion, steps into a tense Montana courtroom with her loyal dog. When she signals, the dog growls at the accused, a young man, stunning the judge and cracking the case wide open. A hidden cabin, a rescued girl, and forensic proof follow, unraveling a web of crime. Her whisper, "Good boy," ends her silence, but leaves us wondering, what scars linger, and will justice hold? The courtroom in Missoula, Montana, hummed with a restless quiet on a gray November afternoon, snowflakes tapping the tall windows like whispers against the glass. The air inside was dry, warmed by an old radiator that clanked faintly, the oak benches creaking under a gallery of bundled-up locals ranchers in worn coats, a clerk in a knit sweater, a deputy chewing a toothpick by the door. At the bench sat Judge Henry Caldwell, 58, his gray hair thinning, his robe crisp as he peered over wire-rimmed glasses at the proceedings below. Ruth Ellis sat in the witness box, 78, her white hair pulled into a loose bun, her frail frame wrapped in a faded green shawl. Her pale blue eyes stared ahead, vacant yet sharp. Her lips sealed since the night a year ago when her home was torn apart, windows smashed, blood on the floor, her voice lost to terror. Beside her, Max, her German Shepherd service dog, lay alert, black and tan fur sleek, ears perked, his collar jingling softly as he shifted. Ruth's hands rested in her lap, trembling slightly, silent as stone. Across the room, the defendant, Jamal Reed, 34, sat at the defense table, his dark skin taut over a lean frame, his eyes flickering between defiance and dread. Charged with the invasion burglary, assault, he'd pleaded not guilty. His lawyer, a wiry man named Tompkins, arguing mistaken identity. The gallery murmured, rancher whispering, "Caught him near her place," clerk nodding. "Looks guilty to me." Caldwell rapped his gavel, the crack cutting the hum. "Mrs. Ellis," he said, voice gruff but measured, "you're here to testify home invasion October last year. Can you identify this man?" He nodded at Jamal, gavel hovering, the room leaning and reporters scribbling, a juror with a red scarf adjusting her glasses. Ruth didn't speak, hadn't since that night. Her silence a wall. Caldwell sighed. "Ma'am, we need something, point, nod, anything." Her hands twitched, then slid to her side, fingers curling in a subtle flick, a signal, quick, unseen by most. Max's head snapped up, a low growl rumbling from his throat, eyes locking on Jamal, teeth bared, fur bristling. The courtroom froze. Caldwell's gavel halted midair, his glasses slipping, mouth agape. What's this?" he stammered, chair creaking as he leaned forward. Jamal jolted, chair scraping. "Control that dog!" Tompkins shouting. "Objection! Prejudicial!" The gallery gasped, rancher muttering. "He knows." Red scarf jurors, pen dropping, clattering loud. Ruth sat still, her signal a spark. Max's growl a bomb, the trial teetering. Caldwell's shock, a crack in the calm. Justice poised to shift. The Missoula, Montana courtroom hung in a brittle silence as Max's growl low, guttural rolled through the oak-paneled space, his sharp teeth glinting under the fluorescent lights, eyes fixed on Jamal Reed. Ruth Ellis sat in the witness box, her faded green shawl draped over her frail shoulders, her white hair catching the faint glow from the snow-dusted windows, her hands still from the secret signal, a subtle flick that had unleashed the moment. Judge Henry Caldwell froze at the bench, his gavel suspended midair, wire-rimmed glasses sliding down his nose, his gray eyes wide with a mix of disbelief and alarm. The growl stretched, a rumble that shook the room's calm, and Caldwell's chair creaked as he lurched forward, robe rustling like a storm-battered sail. What in God's name is this?" he barked, voice cracking, higher than its usual gruff timbre. The gavel clattering onto the bench with a dull thud, wood meeting wood, a sound swallowed by the gallery's gasps. His hands gripped the edge, knuckles whitening, sweat beading on his brow despite the radiator's faint warmth. "Control that animal!" he snapped, eyes darting from Mac's fur, bristling, ears pinned to Ruth, her pale blue gaze steady, unyielding. "Mrs. Ellis, this isn't a circus. What's he doing?" His breath hitched, a ragged edge as he shoved his glasses back, lenses fogging briefly panic, seeping into a man who'd ruled this court for 20 years with an iron grip. The deputy by the door tensed, toothpick still, hand hovering near his belt while the clerk's pen trembled, ink blotting her notes. Jamal Reed's chair scraped. "Get it away," his lawyer, Tompkins, leaping up. "Objection. Your Honor, this is outrageous." Caldwell waved a hand, sharp, silencing them. But his focus stayed on Ruth, then Mac's growl softening to a steady rumble, a warning locked on the defendant. "Explain now," he demanded, voice shaking, robe sleeve catching on a splintered edge, tearing faintly his control fraying, thread by thread. The gallery buzzed, rancher muttering, "Dog knows something." Red scarf jurors, glasses slipping. Her gasp, a soft echo. Caldwell's jaw tightened, his mind racing. Years of petty thefts, bar fights. Never this a dog, a signal, a trial tilting wild. "Mrs. Ellis, I'll clear this court," he rasped, gavel lifting again, then dropping. Clunk his hands shaking, authority a ghost as Max's growl held, Ruth's silence a wall he couldn't crack. He slumped back, robe pooling, eyes flickering shock, confusion. A judge unmoored by a growl that pierced his world, the case teetering. Justice a question he couldn't answer. The Missoula, Montana courtroom quivered with tension as Max's growl faded to a low, steady hum, his black and tan fur still bristling, eyes locked on Jamal Reed. Ruth Ellis sat in his witness box, her faded green shawl slipping slightly, revealing a bony shoulder, her white hair a soft halo under the flickering lights. Judge Henry Caldwell slumped at the bench, his gavel abandoned, glasses fogged, his robe a crumpled testament to his unraveling. "Explain now," still echoing, unanswered. Ruth's pale blue eyes sharpened, her silence a fortress since the invasion. But her hands stirred, trembling fingers sliding from her lap to Max's head, resting there. A quiet command. The dog's growl softened, his ears twitching, but his stare held Jamal shifting, chair scraping, sweat beading on his brow. She exhaled slow, a faint tremor in her breath, then raised her right hand again, 2 fingers extended, a deliberate tap against her thigh, subtle, precise. Max sprang pause, thudding on the wood floor, a sharp bark splitting the air, lunging toward Jamal, stopping short, teeth bared inches from the defense table. The courtroom erupted. Caldwell's chair screeched as he bolted up. "Stop that dog!" Robe flapping, his voice a high-pitched yelp. The deputy lunged. "Down, boy!" Hand on his baton. But Max froze, obedient, growling low, a sentinel at Ruth's will. Jamal recoiled. "Get it off me!" Tompkins shouting. "Your Honor, this is insanity, remove her!" His briefcase clattering as he stumbled back. The gallery surged, rancher gasping. "He's scared stiff." Red scarf juror, clutching her scarf. "What's she doing?" Ruth's hand dropped, Max returning to her side paws, clicking, collar jingling, his bark a trigger she'd pulled. Caldwell pounded the bench, fist shaking, thud-thud, no gavel, just raw panic. "Mrs. Ellis, what's this mean? Speak!" His glasses slipped, sweat streaking his face, the radiator's clank a mocking pulse. Ruth's lips parted, first time in a year. Her voice a whisper, raspy, barely audible. "He knows." She tapped Max's head, fingers steady now, eyes flicking to Jamal calm, piercing, a truth unspoken. The room stilled, clerk's pen halting, reporters whispering, "She talked." A juror's gasp, cutting the hush. Caldwell's jaw dropped. "Knows? Knows what?" His voice cracking, hands flailing, knocking a file papers fluttering. The deed to her land skittering free. Ruth leaned forward, shawl slipping further, her whisper louder, firm. Max saw him. She nodded at Jamal. Max growling soft, a memory unleashed. The courtroom tilted Caldwell, reeling. Saw what? Tompkins objecting. Hearsay. But Ruth's move, her voice, Max's signal, cracked the case wide. A spark igniting Justice's fuse. The Missoula, Montana. Courtroom trembled with the echo of Ruth Ellis's whisper. Max saw him. Her frail voice a thunderbolt. Max's growl a lingering rumble at her side. Judge Henry Caldwell stood at the bench, his robe flapping like a tattered flag, glasses askew, the shattered remnants of his gavel moment still dripping onto the floor. His gray hair clung to his sweaty brow, his wire-rimmed lenses fogged, his hands shaking as he gripped the bench's edge. Ruth's signal, Max's bark, her words unraveling his grip on the trial. What's that mean? He stammered, voice a jagged rasp, chair creaking as he sank back, then lurched up again, robe rustling in the radiator's faint hum. Saw him? Mrs. Ellis, this isn't a game. His eyes darted, Ruth's steady gaze, Max's pinned ears, Jamal Reed's tense flinch at the defense table panic clawing through his usual gruff command. The gallery buzzed, rancher whispering, Dog's a witness. Red scarf juror's pen hovering, her breath caught. Caldwell slammed a fist, thud on the bench, papers scattering, the deed fluttering free again. Order, damn it, order! He barked, voice cracking. The deputy stepping closer, toothpick still, hand on his radio. Judge is losing it. He turned to Ruth, glasses slipping further. You spoke. Explain now, or I'll clear this court. His threat hung, weaker than his bluster, the room's silence pressing back. Ruth sat still, her green shawl slipping, Max's fur brushing her knee, her calm a wall he couldn't breach. Caldwell's breath hitched, then steadied, his mind racing 20 years on this bench. Never a dog, a signal, a whisper turning a case upside down. Counsel, he snapped, eyes flicking to Tompkins, then the prosecutor, Ellen Hayes, a stout woman in a gray blazer, rising slow. This animal's reaction means something. I'm halting testimony. The gallery jolted Tompkins, shouting, Objection, irrelevant. Hayes countering, Your Honor, it's material. Let's investigate. Caldwell waved them off, hand trembling. Enough, I'm recessing 2 hours. Sheriff, feds, check this. Dog saw what? Evidence now. His voice rose, a desperate edge. The clerk, scribbling fast, recess. 2 HRAs, investigate reporters muttering, He's spooked. He rapped, the bench thud, no gavel, just fist, robe sleeve catching on a splinter. Mrs. Ellis, stay. Max, damn it, stays too. We're digging truths coming. He slumped, glasses fogging fully, eyes flickering shock, yielding to a judge's instinct, a case cracking wide. Justice, a thread he'd chase, rattled but resolute. The Missoula, Montana courthouse buzzed with restless energy as Judge Henry Caldwell's gavel-less thud. Recess, 2 hours, sent the courtroom scattering, his order. Sheriff, feds, check this. A flare igniting action. Snow tapped the windows, the radiator clanking as deputies, lawyers, and reporters spilled into the halls, boots squeaking on tile. Ruth Ellis remained in the witness box, her green shawl draped over her frail frame. Max at her side ears perked, growl gone, his collar jingling faintly as she stroked his fur, calm, unbroken. Sheriff Dan Pritchard, a burly man with a gray mustache, barked into his radio. Get the K-9 unit now, his deputies scrambling, coats flapping as they raced to the lot. Prosecutor Ellen Hayes huddled with FBI agent Lisa Tranay, wiry woman in a dark suit, badge glinting outside Caldwell's chambers, voices low, urgent. Max, growled targeted read, Hayes said, flipping her notes. Invasion, Octi, 23. Tran nodded. Dog's a lead, let's retrace. Within 20 minutes, 2 SUVs roared out. Pritchard Tran, a deputy with a bloodhound named Rusty heading to Ruth's property, a weathered ranch house 10 miles east, pines cloaking its edges. Snow crunched under tires, the wind biting as they parked, Ruth's porch sagging. windows still boarded from the invasion. "Start here," Tran said. Rusty sniffing, Max's growl a clue. A scent to chase. Inside, the house whispered ruin-faded floral wallpaper, a broken lamp, bloodstains scrubbed but faint on the hardwood. Rusty whined, nose to the floor, tugging toward the back past a splintered door, out to the woods. Pritchard followed, flashlight cutting the dusk, Tran's boots sinking in snow. "He's onto something." The bloodhound veered, barking sharp a trail snaking north, pine needles crunching underfoot. Half a mile in, a cabin loomed, rough-hewn logs, hidden by thickets, smoke curling from a chimney. Rusty growled, hackles up, Tran signaling, "Quiet, cover me." Pritchard drew his gun. Deputy flanking the door creaked open, a stale whiff of sweat and fear spilling out. Inside, a girl 16, blonde, eyes hollow sat chained to a cot, trembling. "Help me!" A missing teen, Amy Holt, vanished 6 months back. Tran knelt. "You're safe, feds." Pritchard radioing. "Found her cabin, north of Ellis's. Reed's linked to get forensics." The girl nodded, weak. He was here," pointing to a jacket. Jamal's initials scratched inside. Rusty sniffed blood specks on the floor. A match to Ruth's stains evidence piling. Max's growl, a key unlocked. Back at the courthouse, word hit. Girl rescued, Reed's cabin. Caldwell, pacing his chambers, robe off, stunned justice racing. Ruth's signal, a spark that burned true. The Missoula, Montana, courtroom swelled with a taut hum as the 2-hour recess neared its end. Snow piling against the windows. The radiator's clank, a steady pulse in the oak-lined space. Judge Henry Caldwell strode back to the bench, his robe hastily donned. Gray hair mussed, wire-rimmed glasses fogged from pacing his chambers. The gallery buzzed, reporters typing. Rancher leaning forward, red scarf juror clutching her notepad word of the cabin raid crackling through like wildfire. "Girl found, Reed's tied." Caldwell rapped his fist thud the gavel, still lost in the earlier chaos. His voice gruff, strained. "Court's back order." The room stilled, eyes snapping to him. His bench a mess of scattered papers, the shattered glass swept aside, his authority teetering but clawing back. Ruth Ellis sat in the witness box, her green shawl draped over her frail shoulders. Max at her feet, ears perked. Calm now. A quiet sentinel. Jamal Reed slumped at the defense table, face ashen, hands clenched his lawyer. Tompkins, pale beside him. "Sheriff report," Caldwell barked, leaning forward, robe rustling, as the deputy by the door stepped aside. Sheriff Dan Pritchard approached, boots thudding, gray mustache twitching, his coat dusted with snow. "Your Honor, we searched Ruth's land, North Woods. Found a cabin hidden, Reed's jacket inside. Amy Holt missing 6 months, chained up, alive." The gallery, gasped Rancher, muttering, "Jesus." Red scarf juror's pen dropping again, clattering loud. Caldwell's jaw tightened, glasses slipping. "Go on," he rasped, voice low. A judge unmoored yet gripping control. Pritchard nodded. "Blood specks, matches Ruth's house. Forensics rushing at DNA, prints. Dog's growl, Max he knew. Reed's linked girl says he was there." The room jolted reporters whispering. "Kidnapping too?" Tompkins objecting. "Hearsay unproven." But Caldwell waved him off, fist trembling. "Enough," he snapped, eyes flicking to Ruth, her pale blue gaze steady. Then Max, then Jamal, sweat beading on his brow. "This changes at trials paused. Reed remanded, no bail, new charges pending, kidnapping, assault." His voice cracked, firming late robe sleeve, catching on a splinter as he stood, towering briefly. "Sheriff, Fed's full report. Now court's adjourned till tomorrow." The gallery surged, Rancher shouting, "Lock him up." Red scarf juror nodding. Dog was right, reporters typing. Judge Halt's trial cabin shocker. Jamal lunged. "I didn't." Marshals grabbing him, cuffs snapping, his chair tipping as they hauled him out. Ruth sat still, Max's collar jingling as he shifted her signal a spark. Caldwell's return a pivot, justice surging wild. Caldwell sank back, Glasses off, hands shaking. A courtroom king, rattled, reshaped. The truth a tide he'd ride or drown in. The Missoula, Montana. Courtroom crackled with tension as Judge Henry Caldwell's words, remanded, no bail, landed like a gavel's blow, the oak benches trembling under the gallery's surge. Jamal Reed sat at the defense table, 34, his lean frame rigid, dark skin glistening with sweat under the fluorescent glare. His hands clenched tight, knuckles straining, gripped the table's edge. His chair scraping faintly as marshals flanked him, cuffs glinting in their grip. The radiator clanked, snow tapping the windows, a stark backdrop to his unraveling. Caldwell's ruling. New charges pending. Kidnapping, assault, echoed. Sheriff Pritchard's report. Reed's jacket, blood specks, a noose tightening. Jamal's eyes, wide, flickering between defiance and dread, darted from the bench to Ruth Ellis in the witness box, her green shawl slipping, Max at her feet, his growl a ghost haunting the air. "I didn't do that," he shouted, voice raw, cracking, lunging forward, chair tipping. A sharp thud as it hit the floor. Marshals grabbed, "Hold still!" One pinning his arm, the other snapping cuffs, metal clicking loud, his wrists jerking, a futile twist against steel. "This is bullshit!" he yelled, spit flecking his lips, his suit jacket bunching as he thrashed. Tompkins, his lawyer, leaping up. "Your Honor, he's innocent unproven." But Jamal's roar drowned him. "That dog's lying, set me up!" His gaze locked on Mac's ears, perked, steady. Then Ruth, her pale blue eyes piercing, unyielding. The gallery buzzed, rancher muttering. "He's cracking," red scarf juror whispering, guilty panic reporters typing, defendant freaks as dog ties him. Jamal's chest heaved, breath ragged. "I wasn't there!" His voice pitching high, a desperate edge cutting through the hum. His legs kicked boots, scuffing tile. A marshal grunting, "Stop it!" as they hauled him toward the side door, his body twisting, sweat soaking his collar. Caldwell pounded the bench, thud robe flapping. "Quiet, take him!" His glasses fogging, authority fraying as Jamal's shouts bounced. "She's framing me, that old hag!" His defiance crumbling to fear, eyes wild, darting to the projector faint cabin photo, Amy's rescue a shadow he couldn't shake. The marshal's yanked door creaking, his frame buckling. "No, no!" A final plea fading as they dragged him out, boots scraping, a trail of dread left behind. The room stilled, clerk's pen pausing, rancher nodding. "He's done." Jamal's outburst a crack, Ruth's signal a key, evidence a chain he couldn't break, justice closing in. The Missoula, Montana courtroom pulsed with a brittle hush as Jamal Reed's desperate shouts, "She's framing me!" faded behind the side door's slam, marshals dragging him out, his boots scraping tile. Judge Henry Caldwell sank back at the bench, his robe a crumpled shell, glasses fogged, hands trembling from the chaos, snow tapping windows. The radiator's clank a steady beat in the stillness. The gallery buzzed, rancher muttering, "He's toast." Red scarf juror clutching her scarf, eyes wide. Jamal's unraveling a crack in the trial's frame. Ruth Ellis sat in the witness box, her green shawl slipping to her elbows, white hair glinting under the fluorescent hum. Max at her side, his black and tan fur still, ears perked, a quiet sentinel after the growl that sparked it all. Her pale blue eyes, sharp now, traced the empty defense table, Jamal gone. His chair tipped, then lifted to Caldwell, steady, piercing. Her hands, once trembling, rested firm on Max's head, fingers threading his fur, a bond unbroken. Caldwell cleared his throat, voice ragged. "Mrs. Ellis, you said Max saw. Speak, please. What's this?" His fist hovered thud, a weak echo of control. The clerk's pen poised, reporters leaning in. "She talked before." The room teetering. Her silence a wall he'd begged to breach. Ruth's lips parted dry, cracked her breath a faint rasp, then a whisper, soft but clear, cutting the air. "He broke in, night last year." The gallery jolted. Rancher gasping. Holy hell! Red scarf juror's pen clattering. A soft thud on oak. Her voice grew raspy, steady. Max bit chased him woods. She tapped Max's flank, his collar jingling. Good boy, a tremor of pride. Her first words since the invasion. A year mute, now alive. Caldwell's jaw dropped. Broke in, robe rustling as he leaned forward, glasses slipping, sweat streaking his face. You saw him? Reed? Ruth nodded, slow. Dark mask Max, new smell. Her hand flicked again, 2 fingers. Subtle, Max's ears twitched. A low growl rumbling. Eyes on the door Jamal had left memory. Instinct. A truth unleashed. The room surged. Reporters typing. Victim speaks dog IDs. The clerk scribbling Ellis confirms. Rancher shouting. Dog's a damn hero. But Caldwell pounded thud voice cracking. Quiet, let her finish. Ruth's whisper steadied, louder. He ran woods Max, tracked lost him. Her eyes met Caldwell's, firm. Girl there woods his. A nod to the cabin news. Amy's rescue, a thread tied. Her voice, raw, reborn silence the hum. Max's growl a chorus, justice, a flame she'd lit. Caldwell reeling, the trial reborn. The Missoula, Montana courtroom erupted as Ruth Ellis's voice. He broke in Max knew. Cut through the stillness, her raspy whisper, a spark igniting the oak-paneled space. Judge Henry Caldwell froze at the bench, his robe sagging, glasses fogged, fist mid-air thud, a weak echo lost in the swell. Ruth sat in the witness box, her green shawl slipping, white hair catching the radiator's glow. Max at her side, growl soft, ears perked, a hero framed by her words. The gallery surged, benches creaking, snow tapping windows, a faint backdrop to the storm inside. The rancher, in a worn coat, leapt up. She talked damn dog's a genius. His voice booming, fists pumping, coat flapping as he turned to the crowd. Beside him, a woman in a red scarf clutched her chest. My God, he saved her. Her glasses fogging, notepad tumbling, a soft thud on the floor. Whispers exploded. A year silent, now this. Reporters typing. Victim IDs, invader dog key, phones buzzing. A frenzy spilling out. A farmer near the back stood, cap tilting. That mutt knew Reed's cooked, clapping sharp, loud. His calloused hands a drumbeat clap, others joining. A ripple of awe. A retiree in a knit sweater gasped. Girl in the woods, his? Her voice trembling, linking Amy's rescue, eyes darting to Ruth. She's a saint, the rancher nodding. Damn right, Max, too. The buzz, swelled chairs scraping. A deputy's toothpick snapping as he muttered, Holy shit, dog's a cop. His radio crackling. Gallery's wild. A young reporter in a parka filmed. This is unreal. She broke silence. His lens catching Max's steady gaze. Ruth's frail hand on his fur. Good boy. A whisper that fueled the roar. A woman in a quilted jacket shouted, Hang him, Reed's done. Her cry cutting through, heads turning, a tide of fury and triumph. Jurors passed red scarf woman whispering, She's brave dog's gold, a man in flannel nodding. He's guilty plain as day. The clerk's pen raced. Ellis. Speaks IDs Reed ink blotting. Pages flipping. The projector dark. But Ruth's words a light searing all. Jamal's empty chair loomed, gallery eyes burning where he'd sat. His outburst. She's framing me! Now a lie unmasked. The rancher clapped again. Give that dog a medal! Laughter breaking the din, a cheer swelling. Max, Max! The room alive, Ruth's voice a match, her signal ablaze. Justice a wave, crashing loud reporters shouting. She's the story! Caldwell reeling. The gallery's reaction a mirror to truth's raw surge. The Missoula, Montana courtroom throbbed with the gallery's fervor. Max, Max! As Ruth Ellis's voice, he broke in. Max knew. Settled like ash over the oak benches. Her green shawl a quiet banner in the witness box. Max sat beside her. Ears perked, growl silent. his black and tan fur a steady presence. Judge Henry Caldwell stood at the bench, his robe a wrinkled shroud, gray hair disheveled, glasses fogged from sweat snow tapping windows. The radiators clank a faint pulse beneath the chaos he'd lost, then reclaimed. He pounded the bench. Thud thud, no gavel, just fist. Voice rising, gruff but cracking. Order quiet, damn it! The gallery stilled, rancher mid-clap. Red scarf jurors' breath held. Reporters pausing, eyes snapping to him. His wire-rimmed lenses glinting as he shoved them back. Mrs. Ellis, your words dog's reaction changed this trial, he rasped, leaning forward. Robe rustling, hands gripping the edge-shattered glass crunching underfoot. A reminder of his earlier shock. His gaze flicked, Ruth's pale blue eyes steady. Max's calm stare. Jamal Reed's empty chair. Then to the prosecutor. Ellen Hayes, rising slow, gray blazer sharp. Counsel, what's this mean? He demanded, voice steadying, a judge clawing control. Hayes stepped up. Your Honor, Ruth ID's Reed home invasion confirmed by Max. Cabin raid. Amy Holt rescued, Reed's jacket, blood new charges, kidnapping, felony assault. When she slid, a motion thud to the clerk, who wheeled it up. Pages detailing forensics, witness ties. Caldwell snatched at, hands trembling, flipping. Blood match pending. Holt's statement. He held me. His jaw tightened. Kidnapping? Robe sleeve catching, tearing faint. His breath hitching as he scanned Ruth's land deed. Jamal's prints. A case reborn. Defense Tompkins speak, he barked, eyes darting. Tompkins pale, stammering. Unproven dog's not evidence. But Caldwell cut. Enough evidence mounts. Reed's linked. He straightened, robe flapping, voice firming. Trials paused, new charges filed. Kidnapping, assault, burglary. Reed's held, no bail, pending forensics. Sheriff Fed's full report tomorrow. His fist rapped, thud final. The room jolting, rancher nodding. Got him. Red scarf juror whispering. Justice. The clerk typed, new charges adjourned, ink steady. Projector dark. Ruth's whisper, a gavel he'd wielded. Caldwell sank glasses off, wiping sweat. Court's done. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. His ruling a wall. Jamal's fate sealed. Ruth's voice, a key. Max's growl, a lock undone. Justice surging under his shaken hand. The Missoula, Montana courthouse stood quiet under a heavy November dusk. Snow piling thick against the windows. The courtroom emptied after Judge Henry Caldwell's ruling. New charges filed. Reed's held. Its oak walls still reverberating with Ruth Ellis's whisper and Max's growl. Across town, the sheriff's evidence lab buzzed, fluorescent lights, harsh. Linoleum floors scuffed. A hum of machines cutting the silence as forensic techs unraveled the cabin's secrets. Jamal Reed's fate sealing shut. Sheriff Dan Pritchard stood in the lab, gray mustache twitching, his coat slung over a chair. FBI agent Lisa Tran beside him. Dark suit, crisp, badge glinting as she peered at a monitor. Tech Sarah Klein, a wiry woman in a lab coat, clicked through scans. Blood specks, Ruth's floor, cabin cot match. The screen, flared DNA profiles aligning. Jamal's from a prior arrest. Ruth's from the invasion scene. Positive, his blood, her house, Sarah said, voice steady. He bled. Max bit him. Pritchard nodded. Dog's a damn detective. His radio crackling. Caldwell wants this fast. Tran flipped a file. Jacket reads initials. Fibers match Ruth's rug. A microscope hummed. Sarah zooming. Cotton threads, same dye lot. The cabin's blood told more. Amy Holt's. Faint, on a knife. Her DNA reads prints, Sarah added, clicking latent smudges on steel. A match from his booking. The lab pulsed, centrifuge spinning. A printer spitting, Pritchard pacing. Kidnappings, solid 6 months, that girl. Tran tapped a photo cabin floorboards, pried up. Hair strands, hers. Tangled proof, he held her. Sarah nodded. Time-stamped, consistent, with her missing report. A boot print size 11. Tread worn matched Jamal's sneakers, snow dusted from his arrest. He walked there. Fresh tracks, she said, screen glowing. Mudd's identical Ruth's land to cabin. Pritchard's fist clenched. Bastard Max knew Ruth too. Tran's voice cut. Chains his DNA on the lock sweat. Skin confirms Amy's story. He locked me. The lab, stilled printer whirring, a report stacking read, Jamal. DNA, prints, fibers, guilt and ink, Sarah turned. Rush job done. He's nailed home invasion, kidnapping, assault. Back at the courthouse, Caldwell's chambers lit, late robe off. He scanned the facts. Forensic report, Reed confirmed, his glasses slipping, hands steadying. Ruth's whisper. Max saw him. Now fact. Max's growl, a truth etched in blood and mud. The gallery's buzz. Dog's a hero, rang true. Jamal's cries. She's framing me. A lie buried, justice a net closing tight. The Montana woods north of Ruth Ellis's ranch house stood silent under a thickening snow. Dusk painting the pines a muted gray as Sheriff Dan Pritchard's SUV crunched to a halt near the hidden cabin. Snowflakes swirled, the air biting as he stepped out, gray mustache frosted, boots sinking, FBI agent Lisa Tran beside him. Dark suit, stark against the white, breath puffing white. Deputy Mike Rawls trailed. Rusty, the bloodhound straining his leash nose low. A sharp bark, cutting the stillness, leading them to the rough-hewn log shack. Smoke curling thin from its chimney. Pritchard signaled. Quiet cover gun drawn. Flashlight slicing the gloom, Tran flanking left. Rawls right. Rusty's growl low, hackles up. The cabin loomed, windows boarded. Door weathered. A faint whimper seeping through the cracks. Tran nodded. She's in there. Her badge glinting as she edged closer, boots silent. Pritchard's pulse hammering, Ruth's Max Sawwoods, a beacon now true. He kicked the door crack, wood splintering, hinges groaning, a stale rush of sweat, damp, and fear spilling out. Inside, shadows danced, lantern flickering, walls bare. Amy Holt, 16, blonde hair matted, eyes hollow, sat chained to a rusty cot, wrists raw. Help me! Her voice a brittle thread, barely a whisper. She shivered, thin sweater torn, jeans filthy snow drifting through the busted door. Her breath a faint cloud. Tran knelt. FBI, you're safe. Voice soft, firm. Hand steady as she pried the lock chain clanking free. Amy's sob breaking. He was here! Pritchard swept the room, flashlight catching a jacket J. Reed, scratched inside, blood specks on the floor. A knife glinting under the cot. Got him, he growled. Radio crackling. Girl alive, cabin secure. Rusty sniffed whining, pawing a match to Ruth's stains. Max's trail. Rawls cut her free. Easy kid, blanket wrapping her, her frame buckling. 6 months dark him, pointing to the jacket, eyes darting, terror etched deep. Tran lifted her. We've got you, snow crunching as they carried her out. Pritchard's light catching tire tracks. Footprints, Jamal's boots. He ran here, bastard. Amy clung. He said quiet or die, her whisper a shard, tying Ruth's invasion to this hell. The woods sighed, snow falling heavy. Cabin a tomb unmasked, Ruth's signal. Max's growl a lifeline. Amy's rescue a crack in Jamal's lies. Justice clawing free from the dark. 3 months after Amy Holt's rescue, the Missoula, Montana courthouse stood hushed on a crisp February morning. Snow blanketing the ground outside. The oak-paneled courtroom warmed by the radiator's steady hum. Judge Henry Caldwell sat at the bench, his robe neatly pressed, gray hair combed, wire-rimmed glasses polished. A man steadied after the trial storm. The gallery, filled ranchers, reporters, locals in knit scarves, watched as the final gavel fell on United States vs. Jamal Reed. Jamal stood at the defense table, 34, his lean frame slouched, dark eyes, hollow cuffs glinting, suit replaced by a gray jumpsuit. The evidence. Ruth's testimony, Max's growl, Amy's rescue, forensic blood and prints had buried him. Guilty on all counts, home invasion, kidnapping, assault. Caldwell's voice rang. Jamal Reed, 25 years, no parole. His gavel cracking sharp, a thud echoing off the walls, rancher nodding. Locked tight, Red scarf juror whispering, "Deserved." Jamal's head bowed. "I didn't," a mutter cut by marshals hauling him out. Boots dragging, door slamming. His defiance a ghost drowned in truth. Ruth Ellis sat in this front row, her green shawl snug, white hair soft under the lights. Max at her feet, black and tan fur sleek, ears perked. A quiet hero. Her pale blue eyes met Caldwell's, a nod, faint. Her voice a whisper since that day. "Good boy." Max's tail thumping, her silence broken, healing slow. Caldwell cleared his throat. "Mrs. Ellis, your courage, Max's, saved a life, brought justice. Court's gratitude." His glasses glinted, robe rustling as he stood a rare beau. The gallery clapping, ranchers shouting, "Damn right," reporters typing, "Dog, victim seal case." Ruth's hand rested on Max. He heard always, her rasp a thread, strength reborn, the invasion's scar fading with each word. Outside, Missoula stirred, snow crunching under boots, the town abuzz. Max the hero. A plaque planned at the sheriff's office. Max, K9 Justice. Ruth walked her ranch land, that dusk porch rebuilt. Windows clear, Max trotting beside, sniffing snow. Amy Holt, 16. Lived now with kin hair clean, eyes brighter, her "thank you" a note Ruth kept, whispering, "Safe now," to Max, his bark a soft reply. Her voice grew soft songs to the pines, a hum to the stars. Trauma's grip, loosening. A life reclaimed. Jamal sat in Deer Lodge prison, gray walls, steel bars, his mind churning. They framed me, a mutter to the dark, unrepentant, plotting appeals. Could he slip free or fade? The cabin stood empty, snow burying its logs. A tomb of his crime secrets, perhaps unturned. Shadows lingering. Caldwell sipped coffee in his chamber's robe off, glasses on the desk, Ruth's Max saw replaying. A judge, changed bias cracked, cases weighed anew. Or had he? Missoula whispered, justice served, but scars deep. Amy's quiet, Ruth's hum, a town healing slow. Ruth stood on her porch, Max at her side. Snow falling, pines swaying, her whisper. "Good boy." A promise kept, a voice found. The ending opened. Amy's path, Jamal's cell, Caldwell's bench, justice, a flame lit. Flickering readers wondering, would Ruth speak more? Would evil rise? Would healing hold? Thank you all for watching this video. Please comment and let me know what you think about this story. Please like and subscribe to watch more great content on my channel.